Have you ever paused long enough to ask yourself, why do I keep facing the same inner conflicts no matter how much I seek meaning, truth, or peace? Why does the shadow of temptation or failure cling so stubbornly, even when I am doing everything to rise above it? It's tempting to think these battles mean we are falling short, that the ideal we chase is out of reach, or that some force greater than us is ignoring our cries for relief. But what if these struggles are not signs of distance or defeat? What if they are, in fact, signals that something far more profound is happening beneath the surface, a transformation quietly unfolding, shaping us for a purpose we cannot yet fully see? This is not going to be a typical discourse about avoiding weakness or building iron willpower. This is about something far more vital, about how your most persistent struggles may be intimately connected to your deepest potential and your greatest influence on the world. Before we go deeper, make sure to subscribe and join the conversation, because we explore life's toughest questions with honesty and depth, moving beyond cliches to real insight. Now, from the earliest stories to the most recent reflections on human nature, a pattern emerges. Those who are destined for meaningful impact often find themselves under pressure unlike any other. This isn't coincidence or random misfortune. Rather, it is a profound principle of existence that greatness and struggle are often intertwined. Consider how individuals with clear vision and unshakable conviction often wrestle with their darkest challenges in private. These moments of temptation, doubt, and inner conflict are not accidents. They are tests, crucibles through which the soul is refined and the character hardened. We can see this principle reflected again and again throughout history. Those who have shaped ideas, changed societies, or inspired millions did not do so by avoiding struggle, but by walking through it and learning from it. They were attacked where it hurt the most, because that was where their influence would be felt the strongest. The opposition they faced was focused and relentless, not random or indifferent. In the realm of the spiritual and philosophical, there is a concept that the most persistent thorn in the flesh, that ongoing struggle or affliction, is not a sign of abandonment, but a space where grace and growth intersect. It is in our weakness, our repeated failures, and our moments of surrender that we discover new dimensions of strength that cannot be forged in triumph alone. This is not about weakness as a failing, but about weakness as the birthplace of wisdom and resilience. This understanding invites us to reconsider the nature of our own battles. What if the very things we want to escape are the very things that God, fate, or the universe is using to shape us into who we are meant to become? The pressure that threatens to crush us might actually be the force that propels us toward maturity and depth. The repeated failures might not be disqualifications, but invitations to depend more fully on something beyond our own willpower. We see echoes of this truth in the lives of many who have walked the path before us. Their legacies remind us that struggle and transformation are inseparable. The courage to endure, to face oneself honestly, and to persist in the face of internal storms is what ultimately creates voices that resonate across generations. It is not the absence of struggle that defines greatness, but the commitment to transcend it through grace, humility, and relentless pursuit of meaning. So, what does it look like to live with this grace-fueled discipline? It means recognizing that struggle is not the enemy, but the companion on the journey. It means staying anchored in truth, however difficult it may be, and cultivating habits that nurture growth, whether through reflection, community, honest self-examination, or acts of service. It means building resilience not through avoidance, but through engagement, returning time and again to the source of strength, whatever form that takes for you. This is a call to a new kind of partnership, one where personal effort meets surrender, where determination embraces vulnerability. It is the difference between fighting alone and fighting alongside a deeper power that transforms the fight itself. This partnership separates those who merely endure from those who are truly formed and chosen for impact. And here is the shift I want to leave with you. What if your struggle is not proof of failure or distance, but evidence of drawing closer to your true self and your true purpose? What if every stumble, every moment of doubt is part of a larger tapestry being woven with intention and care? The promise here is that no experience is wasted, that the good includes the painful, and that transformation happens in the tension between despair and hope. When we understand struggle as a sacred process, we begin to see our own lives differently. We realize that the shame we carry can become the soil in which grace takes root. Our wounds become a source of empathy and authority to encourage others. Our honesty becomes the bridge that connects us with those still lost in the fight. This is not a license to wallow or give in, but an invitation to rise with eyes wide open, knowing that the fight itself is fertile ground for growth. It means asking not just for freedom from struggle, but for wisdom to see what is being formed inside us, the character, the strength, the insight that no victory without cost can produce. And so, if you find yourself still in the battle, know this: you are not disqualified. You are not alone, and you are being prepared. Your fight matters because your future matters. Your presence on this path is a threat to the forces that resist transformation, and for that reason, it is sacred. Let this be the prayer of your heart. Show me what you are forming through this struggle. Use even this part of my story for something greater. And as you walk that path, remember to share your journey, for your voice may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If this perspective has offered you new eyes to see your challenges, join the community where we dig deep, face life's truths without shame, and grow together. Because where you see weakness, there is potential. Where you see shame, there is surrender. And where you see struggle, there may be one chosen to rise. As we continue this exploration, it's essential to grasp that struggle is not simply an obstacle to overcome or a burden to endure. It is the forge where our deepest selves are shaped. Many have lived through this truth before us, even if they did not always name it as such. The tension between desire and discipline, weakness and strength, failure and hope, is the very ground from which transformation springs. This is not merely an abstract idea. It's a reality that unfolds in the daily choices we make, the repeated moments when we rise despite exhaustion, when we confront what is painful rather than avoid it. Think about this. What is it that compels a person to return time and again to a difficult path, to wrestle with inner demons that seem to drain their spirit? The answer lies in something profoundly human, the recognition that beneath the struggle lies a call to something greater than ourselves. It is in that wrestling that we find meaning. The fight itself becomes a form of communion, a dialogue between our present weakness and the future strength waiting to be claimed. It is as if the universe itself conspires to test and refine those who are meant for influence. In philosophy, we often speak of the abyss, the dark, daunting void where meaning seems lost and certainty fades. But what is frequently overlooked is that the abyss is not a place of abandonment. Rather, it is the very place where the greatest possibilities emerge. It is the threshold where one either turns away or steps forward into the unknown. Those who step forward, who do not shrink from the abyss, but face it with courage and openness, discover a paradoxical truth that the darkness contains the seed of light, that surrender in the depths precedes ascent. This leads us to consider the role of grace, a concept often misunderstood as mere forgiveness or unearned mercy. Grace is far more dynamic. It is the active presence of transformation in the midst of struggle. It is the force that fills the space where our strength runs out and where human effort alone is insufficient. Grace does not erase struggle, but inhabits it, turning what seems like a weakness into a source of power. This power is not domination or control, but a profound resilience that bends without breaking, a wisdom born not of certainty, but of enduring uncertainty. The ancient paradox of strength and weakness teaches us that the deepest power often lies not in overcoming every obstacle instantly, but in persevering through them. It is the slow, patient forging of character over time, the kind of growth that cannot be rushed or faked. Each failure, each fall, each return to the fight contributes to the maturation of the soul. This is why the stories that endure across time are not those of perfection, but those of perseverance, stories of individuals who did not give up, despite repeated setbacks, who kept walking the narrow path when the easier roads were tempting. Yet this path is not meant to be traveled alone. Connection and community play a vital role in sustaining us during our darkest moments. The courage to share one's struggle, to be vulnerable, and to seek help is itself a form of grace-fueled discipline. It breaks the cycle of isolation that so often deepens despair. When we open ourselves to others, we tap into a collective strength, a shared reservoir of hope and understanding. This communal aspect reminds us that our battles are not just personal but relational, that our wounds, once healed, become bridges for others to cross. At the same time, personal responsibility remains crucial. This is where discipline comes in, not as harsh self-judgment, but as a daily commitment to small acts of integrity and courage. Discipline is the practice of showing up for ourselves and the calling we sense within us, even when motivation wanes and hope dims. It is the quiet refusal to surrender to despair, the choice to align actions with values in the midst of struggle. Discipline rooted in grace understands the limits of human effort and the necessity of relying on a power beyond ourselves, but it does not excuse passivity or resignation. Here, too, lies an invitation to examine what we truly seek. Are we after comfort, approval, or immediate relief? Or are we willing to embrace the discomfort of growth, the uncertainty of transformation? The latter requires a kind of spiritual maturity, an ability to trust in processes that are often invisible and intangible. It is a commitment to the long game, to the slow and sometimes painful emergence of a more resilient, wise self. This brings us to the idea of legacy, the notion that our struggles are not just for us, but for those who come after. Legacy is not measured by fame or fortune, but by the capacity to influence others through authenticity and vulnerability. When we allow ourselves to be known in our brokenness, we give permission for others to do the same. Our wounds, when offered with honesty and courage, become instruments of healing beyond our immediate circles. This is the paradox of suffering. It can isolate us, but it can also connect us in profound ways. But how do we move from simply enduring struggle to embracing it as purpose? The answer lies in reframing the narrative we tell ourselves. Instead of viewing struggle as punishment or failure, what if we see it as initiation? What if the trials we face are invitations to a deeper awakening, calls to embody qualities like patience, humility, and empathy? This shift requires intentionality, a conscious decision to engage with suffering as a teacher rather than an enemy. To cultivate this mindset, we can draw on practices that anchor us in presence and awareness. Mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or contemplative prayer are tools that help us observe our inner landscapes without judgment. They allow us to witness the recurring patterns of thought and behavior that keep us trapped and open the possibility of choosing new responses. Through these practices, we learn that struggle is not a permanent state, but a moment in an ongoing process of becoming. It's also vital to recognize that transformation is rarely linear. Progress often feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. This ebb and flow can be discouraging if we expect constant upward movement. But the cycles of growth mirror natural rhythms, seasons of planting, growth, harvest, and rest. Embracing these cycles with patience and grace helps us resist the urge to judge ourselves harshly for setbacks. One of the most powerful aspects of this journey is the cultivation of hope. Hope is not naive optimism or denial of reality. It is a grounded trust in the possibility of change. Hope sustains us when the road is long and the destination unclear. It fuels the courage to continue walking even when the future seems uncertain. And hope is contagious. When we embody it, we inspire it in others. Let's not underestimate the importance of small victories along the way. Each moment we choose honesty over denial. Each time we reach out instead of retreating, each instance of forgiveness toward ourselves or others is a step toward freedom. These moments accumulate, creating a foundation for lasting transformation. Celebrating these wins, no matter how minor, strengthens our resolve and affirms the presence of grace in the ordinary. As we reflect on this, consider the role of narrative, the stories we tell about ourselves and our struggles. These narratives shape our identity and influence our behavior. Are we framing our journey as a tragedy or a hero's quest? Are we defining ourselves by our failures or by our resilience? Rewriting our internal stories with compassion and courage is an act of reclaiming power. It opens space for new possibilities and aligns us more closely with our purpose. In practical terms, this might mean establishing new habits that support our growth. Boundaries become essential, not walls to isolate us, but fences that protect our well-being and keep us focused on what matters. Accountability, whether through trusted friends, mentors, or community, provides the support and challenge necessary to stay on course. Regular reflection, whether through writing or conversation, deepens our understanding and reinforces commitment. Service to others emerges naturally from this process. When we recognize that our struggles are not just personal but part of a shared human experience, the impulse to serve grows. Helping others navigate their own challenges becomes a way to give meaning to our pain. In this way, transformation is not just self-centered but deeply relational. It ripples outward, touching lives beyond our own. Ultimately, the journey through struggle toward purpose is a journey of surrender and empowerment. It is surrender in that we accept our limitations and seek help beyond ourselves. It is empowerment in that we take responsibility for how we respond to what life presents. This delicate balance is the essence of maturity, the capacity to hold paradox, to live with complexity and uncertainty, and to move forward with courage and grace. So if you are still in the midst of your battle, remember this: you are not defined by your struggles, but by how you engage with them. Your fight is not a mark of failure, but a sign of life, a life being shaped for a purpose beyond what you can currently see. Let your journey be marked by grace-fueled discipline, deep reflection, and a commitment to serve. Let your story be one of transformation, not despite struggle, but because of it. In closing, I encourage you to reflect on this truth daily. When the shadows gather and doubt whispers, remind yourself that these moments are part of the sacred process of becoming. Invite grace into your pain and surrender your weakness as a pathway to strength. Share your story with those who need to hear it, and find in community the strength to persevere. If this message resonates, please join our community where we explore these themes with honesty and depth. Subscribe, engage, and grow with us, because transformation is not a solitary act, but a shared journey. Where you see struggle, we see the seed of greatness waiting to bloom. Remember, your greatest battle might just be the sign of your greatest calling.